What's going on, contenders? In this video, we're going to discuss what the best glove is to use for the heavy bag. We're going to cover everything from bare hand wraps, just hitting the bag with bare hand wraps, all the way up to 16-ounce gloves. I'm going to give you my opinion, my insight on the pros and cons for each glove. And at the end of the video, I want you to leave your comment below on your insight and your experience using various sizes of glove for the heavy bag. All right, let's get into it. All right, so let's start off with just hand wraps. Now, what I like about hand wraps, it's not something I'd want you to use a lot, but it teaches you how to make a proper fist when hitting the bag, so you know how to position the fist and the wrist for different shots. You'll also get a better understanding of how to position the hand for when you put gloves on, because you want to punch with gloves on in a way that you would if you didn't have gloves on. Another reason for you to hit the bag once in a while without wraps is if you're in bare knuckle boxing, because these are going to be the conditions that you'll be fighting in. So you're going to need to prepare mentally and physically for those conditions. Some of the cons are, of course, you do risk injury. Having a shot that's a little bit thrown off, your hands taking the impact straight, you do have a higher risk of injury. Also, the other con is that it doesn't really prepare you for the conditions of actual competitive boxing where you'll be wearing gloves. If you're punching without gloves and suddenly you're wearing gloves for sparring or your fight, it's going to be something that you're not used to. And when it comes to actually competing, you want to simulate the experience of the event, because those gloves do make a big difference. They do absorb a lot of the impact of shots, and they also affect the openings. So you're going to want to prepare in a way that is similar to the event. So without wraps, once in a while to show you how to make a proper fist, just to reinforce that, but not something you're going to want to do on a regular basis. All right, 6-ounce old school gloves, or even 4-ounce. These have been around a long time. It's sort of what the old school fighters used to use on the heavy bag. Now, the story I have about this is I had someone comment a while back saying that when they started to use the heavier gloves, they were getting shoulder injuries and feeling impact in their elbows and in their bicep. And now this is true, because suddenly when you can punch without fear and really let your hands go with that much more power and speed, it may be better in the conditioning and the development of your power and speed, but it comes at a price, and that price is that the elbows, biceps, and shoulders are absorbing that impact. So if the hands aren't absorbing it and you're hitting harder, those joints are absorbing it. And so this commenter had said that they went back to their old school gloves, the small bag gloves, and all the injuries slowly over time went away. So I think these reinforce making a proper fist, forces you to be more precise, takes impact off of the shoulders, elbows, and joints. The cons of these are, there still is that little bit more risk of injury in comparison to a 12 or a 16-ounce glove. And again, like as mentioned with just the wraps, it doesn't prepare you for sparring or fight conditions where you'll actually be wearing full-size gloves. So something to do once in a while for training, and or if you're having shoulder injury, or if you're just a casual boxer and you find that these are better for you, but not something to do all the time, or not something to prepare you for competitive boxing. All right, 10-ounce gloves. Now, these can be a favorite for a lot of people. And also, one thing that's important to know is that you'll most likely be fighting with 10-ounce gloves. One of the things I like about the 10-ounce gloves is it prepares you for the actual condition of a fight. Of most amateur fights, most pro fights, we're looking at around the 10-ounce glove. Now, the reason why that's important is that if you're always training with heavier gloves, I find when you get to the fight, and if you're not experienced, you tend to over-recruit or overthrow, because your body is used to winging around a 16-ounce glove, and that requires more recruitment of muscle fibers to throw, even though it's a minimal amount. But when you go to throw with the 10-ounce, it's like a difference between a baseball and a bowling ball. Suddenly, you overload and over-recruit, and this throws you off balance. Whereas with a 10-ounce glove, you would be more balanced, and the arm, with a small twist of the waist, can do most of the work. So I say that these are great for really getting your balance and understanding what the fight is going to feel like in terms of throwing your hands. Now, another thing that I like the 10-ounce for is working on the double end bag. Just to kind of give you that good balance, give you the accuracy and precision, give you that nice feel. I really like the 10-ounce for the double end bag. And the cons, again, if you really are having sore hands, sore wrists, the 12 and 16 is going to give you more protection. And another con about the 10-ounce gloves is that it doesn't really prepare you for sparring. And I found that if I'm training only with 10-ounce gloves on the bag all the time, and then suddenly sparring is about to ramp up because the fight is coming up. I'm not used to those 16s, and my shoulders and arms are getting tired a little bit more quickly because I'm not used to holding those 16s. So it's funny how you wear 16s in sparring to prepare you for the fight, but in the fight you're wearing the 10s. But if you're wearing 10s all the time, you seem to be kind of sometimes out of shape for sparring, at least in terms of holding those 16s and throwing and working with them. So, you know, I like to, when I'm starting to spar more, if a fight is coming up, I like to start to mix in 16 and 12-ounce gloves into my bag work with the 10s, kind of mix them all in there so that I'm prepared for all situations in my boxing. 12-ounce gloves. Now, these are my favorite all-around gloves. Good protection, great support, a good balance of muscular and punch stamina, preparing you for the fight and preparing you for sparring. Sort of the great all-around glove to prepare you on either side and give you that protection. I would say the only real con to the 12-ounce glove is that you're not getting to specialize as much. That if you're wearing the 16, you're really getting ready for the event of sparring and you're getting a little bit more protection. If you're wearing the 10s, then you know you're really getting that feel for the fight and exactly what it's going to feel like. So the 12-ounce to me is the great all-around generalist glove. This is my favorite weight to work with, but the con is that you're not specializing as much as if you're wearing something specific for each event. All right, last but not least, 16-ounce gloves. Now these are going to offer you the most hand protection. They do offer you a little bit more grace and forgiveness on your hands if you miss hit, just because of the size of the glove and the weight of the glove. Excellent for stamina, literally localized muscular stamina in the shoulders, preparing your muscles for the movement of punches. Not so much cardiovascular, but muscular in terms of executing and lifting your arms and moving your arms to throw punches. So great for stamina and great for preparing you for sparring, because this is most of the time what you'll be using in sparring. So the 16-ounce gloves definitely have their purpose. Cons. Some of the cons are if you're always wearing these gloves, you can get a little bit overconfident with bad technique. Sometimes you're able to wing punches and swing and get away with punches that aren't really landing as accurately and as precisely as they should. So you can get a little bit reckless. And the other thing I don't like about the 16s, if you're always wearing them for your bag work and for your sparring, and you get to the fight and you wear those light gloves, your balance might be a little off because you're expecting to recruit more. Your body is just anticipating that little bit more load up to release the shot. And then you get these 10 ounces and they fly, and you can get a little bit off balance. But overall, a great glove. All right, that's my insight and experience with different size gloves, all the way from just wraps up to the 16-ounce gloves. Make sure to leave your comments below on your experience. Like I said earlier in the video, leave your comments below. Tell me what you're using, what your experiences are, what you've tried, what's worked, what hasn't, what you like, and what you don't like. And of course, make sure to like, subscribe, all that kind of YouTube stuff. And thanks for watching. Peace.